well, God and Jesus and Satan have just been replaced with extraterrestrials. Right? Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we from the Christian perspective or Judeo-Christianity, we can pull back into the Old Testament and read what those people were seeing, which they weren't exactly the most technological in one aspect, and so they're seeing technology that they didn't understand, and so they described it what they seen. And I know of at least 5 different references in the Old Testament, particularly that gives direct references to spaceships, beings in them.
There's an article that came out the other day that I sent to you from the Daily Star that reads that the Pentagon halted research into UFOs over fears that UFOs were demons. And when I saw this, I immediately sent it to you, and I was blown away. And here in a second, here, let me pull up this article. If the computer and the AI gods will let me bring up these freaking articles and do things properly here. Okay. Bible reading Pentagon commanders halted UFO research over fears aliens were demons. A major figure in the Pentagon's UFO research agency claims that fundamentalist Christians within the establishment blocked him because they thought UFOs come from hell. What a statement that is, Wayne. Pentagon commanders have clamped down on research into extraterrestrials because the religious beliefs it's claimed. Leading UFO researcher Ron James, major senior figures in the U.S. government, fear aliens are in fact demons. Ron, who was the director of media relations for UFO research group MUFON, claims that there is a very large amount of people within the Pentagon who oppose the work of Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ATIP, because they think UAPs regularly reported by the United States sources, U.S. military sources, are piloted by creatures from hell. Yep. So that's basically the article there. How far back in time can we go with this whole thing, Wayne? Like, give me a break. Demons. What even is a demon? Right?
Well,
Can anyone define what a demon is and how they operate and what they are, or if and why they even exist?
well, if you're mixing, theologies here, but in Revelation, it says and states that the demons are the fallen angels that were the result of that unholy birth or sexual intercourse between these aliens, these angels, that they mated with women. They produced an offspring known as the Nephilim, the giants. These, according to the book of Enoch, God said, "I had nothing to do with them. I did not create them. Therefore, I have no responsibility over them," and it basically cursed them to earth. And if you go further into the occult, it is that group, that special class of beings that are forever damned, walking the face of the earth. And then that's how you get into these are, in fact, the demons, which were initially the angels. 1/3 of the heavens fell, followed Satan, and that was called the first revolt.
Yeah, that's really interesting. But I think that this article just proves that the Pentagon doesn't believe in extraterrestrials either, because they're labeling it something from mythology that has no proof of existing. And the easiest explanation is to lump extraterrestrials and UFOs into the spiritual category or the consciousness category, just like demons, angels, Jesus, and God are in, right? And that explains away why no one ever sees them, because it's a spiritual phenomenon and a consciousness phenomenon, not a physical one. But they're there, Wayne, right?
They're there.
Just trust me. They're there, but you can't see them because they're on a higher vibratory rate.
See, how can they say that, Ryder, when they're saying that, it's these mythological beings that the book of Zechariah, chapter 12, I believe, he's standing there with his angel. They're on this cliff. And as he looked in the direction of Sumer, that's what it says, that this flying carpet scroll came and was hovering Right with them, there were two pilots. They were females, and there was an individual in the center. And the Zechariah, the prophet, asked the angel, "Who and what is this?" And he said, "These are the people from Sumer." So it's very and listen. Let's go back all the way into the Vedic, the Hindu beliefs, the Vashrams, or the flying craft that they had. We know that there were Brahmas, excuse me, three different classes of those. One that moved material, one that moved royalty, and one that moved people. So where did these people go? I mean, and if you study demonology, well, really what you're talking about is that these are the masters of technology. I mean, if you think 6,000 years ago when these prophets were writing this stuff on these encounters, well, are you telling me that they didn't understand about aerodynamics, they didn't understand about magnetism, gravitational forces, and what have you? Apparently they did. We didn't, but that's why we are so mesmerized. Could I get back to that article about the Pentagon? What I find frightening about this is that if that is the mindset of these cats that are supposedly defenders, we hope, of the United States, right? They're supposed to be defenders of us. And what they're saying is that they don't want to pursue a research, a science, because they think that this is already demonic.
Yeah.
Ryder, maybe it's just me. I mean, I'm 68 and, still feel very young, but I look at this and I go, how regressed are we? I mean, you're talking about concepts of what you and I were talking about, what they found on the pictographs. Apparently, it was the children of Israel were making it through the desert. This is really what we're saying, is that's what we really think is going on here. That's frightening.
It is really frightening. And let's just say, hypothetically, what would you think a demon would be? You just mentioned that they're technologically advanced. Now, before you answer, we need to take away all of the religious programming and all the thoughts and ideas others have placed through TV and movies and possession horror films, and take away the Hollywood interpretation of being possessed by demons. What are they, if they exist, Wayne?
By my definition, they're multidimensional beings. They have the ability to coexist in multiple dimensions, having the ability to, and this just sounds a little strange, if their energy, which has a non-physical form, well, that's kind of proving wrong, because then it shows that these beings are probably mortal. Most likely they can die just like we can. They have the ability to be longer lived. I happen to think they've been here for a very long, long time. And this is where we get the stories of the reptilians. We get the story of the snake in the Garden of Eden, the whole idea. Because if you believe that, then you have to also believe that there were talking animals back then.
I think I take a little more fundamentalist aspect toward what I think demons are. I think the demons are a thought form, right?
An egregore?
Well, I think the demons are the voice that's inside your head.
Okay, right? Yeah. I get it. Okay.
Whispering negativity in your ear, telling you that you aren't good enough, telling you that you can never make anything of your life, constantly berating you with failure, right? Telling you that you're stupid, that you shouldn't believe in yourself. That's what I think demons are. And I think that when some people believe that negative voice, they never take chances. They don't speak their mind. They don't stand up for themselves. They get stuck in a rut that they can't seem to get out of, no matter how hard they try. But that voice inside your head is wrong, right? You have the power to overcome those negative thoughts. But not only do you battle with your own negativity, but you also have to battle other people's negativity, right? Because other people try and insert those negative thought forms into your head as well, that try and break down that door of positivity. and put those demons into your head through negativity, right? And you ponder on it and you start to believe in that negativity. That's the back door that I think demons use. If they can't get to you directly, they will use others to try and break down that barrier inside of your mind. And these negative thoughts can get so bad and so in such extreme forms that it looks like that it's demonic possession. But in reality, it takes on the form of extreme mental illness.